Hey guys, so for today we're going to be learning how to use some of the pattern tools that we have on Auto Desk Inventor. To do that we're going to be drawing this cool sword. As I recently watched Demon Slayer on Netflix, so I know this has the pattern and some of the different features that we want to try to replicate. So getting out of that, and you can see here I've already started up a project. We're going to select the top plane and we're going to import our image. Alright, so for part of this we are going to trace. Other parts we're going to use the tool like I said. So some parts of it just makes sense to trace, and so say down here, right? So down here you can see that one's not the same as all the rest of these notches, as well as there's a hole in it. So what we're going to do is trace majority of it, make that notch there in the hole, and then we'll be able to use the pattern tool for the rest of it. Okay, it's not actually called the pattern tool, but it's the most descriptive word before you learn how to use it. One thing we need to do first is I'm trying to line this up as hard as I can with the top black line there, so it's straight, and that looks pretty straight to me. Now using the dimension tool, I'm going to make this 1000 millimeters across. And now what we're going to be doing is starting to do our trace. So our initial trace is going to be using the arc tool, and we're going to be using that on the top of it, because that is the longest point and it's probably the easiest part to trace. The problem is there is a bit of a curvature on the bottom, so I'm going to aim for the top of that curvature and then zoom back out and then get that lined up as best as I can on the top. Now doing the bottom, because there's a few individual curves down here, so I'm going to zoom in as close as I can. Some people like doing this further away. I struggle with that, so I do it nice and close like that. Alright, we've done that one and that one and that one. Alright, cool. So we've got that bottom traced out nicely. We'll actually, because the most important part actually is front edge, because that's where all the detail is, I'm going to do either end of this first and then connect those together so I can get a much better arc instead of guessing it and it's going to be slightly off. So there we go, we've got our two edges. Going to line it up nicely there. Alright, so last thing I need to do is, second to last thing, I might do the easy bit first and do the hole in the end. So selecting the middle of where that is, whoa, and then going to the edge there. Alright, fantastic, and now let's do this individual one. So I'm going to swap to the line tool instead of having the arc tool, and moving that together like that, tracing the edges. Alright, fantastic, and what I'm going to want to do as well is trim out the middle of this. Okay, so you can see there I've got all of that done. If I go 3D model, extrude, always zooms you out, I don't know why. I'm extruding that 3 millimeters and pressing OK. Alright, so now we've got that sword there, and we know this is a set size from our image. So if I go, so I'm going to want to draw on this face, I'm going to do sketch. I'm actually going to do project geometry first. So we're going to have those yellow lines. So you should always be able to see those yellow lines, even if I bring in a new image. Okay, so it should be as easy as me going dimension and then setting the size of that to 1000, and you can see through my project geometry, you can see that those lines coming through it, and you can see that I've done well there. So now probably the easiest part, to be honest, once you know how to use it, is we're going to trace this, make sure it's a complete and closed entity. So I'm going to go line and zoom all the way in so I get this right. It doesn't look right. I've got too far there or not far enough there, so I'm going to quickly redo it. There to there, there to there, there to there, and there to there. Alright, cool. So I've done that. I do need to connect those up. Control C that. Sorry, I need to use the arc tool because it is on a slight curve. So using our arc tool to close that off. So you need to make sure you've closed all that off and there is no gaps. Now what we need to do is actually go to the arc tool again. We need something for this to follow. So if I go from there and I'll go to there, and it goes green because I've already got that line there. It's actually made a full circle, which isn't what I want. So I missed that because I was too zoomed in. So we'll go arc again. From there to there. So give me another full circle. It has. That's frustrating. Okay, final shot at this. Okay, so I don't want to give me a full circle. Unless I'm going... What I could do, actually, leave that full circle there. And I might trim it up after. Cool. Gone. So that's got our circle, our arc there. So that should be good. Alright, now, so like I said, it was meant to be the easy bit, but then I was not doing very well. So delete your image, so just click and delete on that. We need just that geometry there. So I'm going to highlight that. And now we're going to use this circular tool. Now if I click on this, it's going to put, I need to press Control and click on that, because at the moment I've got it set on geometry. As we actually already selected this when it was highlighted, that's fine. Now I need to select axes and click on that. You'll see that axes, we're going to select that. And we don't have anything coming up. It's actually coming up over here because there's only 6 spots. And I didn't come out further enough. So you can see there that they've all come out there. But if I change this to say 10 degrees and zoom in, because this is a big arc, you can see how that circle was so large from that axis point. So that starting point. And you can see that they all fit on like that. So if I change this a bit smaller, what if I go to 8? Nope, 9. So you can get it basically perfectly lined up. But then how many different notches does he actually have on his sword? Let's double check that so we get it right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Alright, cool. So we can change that to 12. But it'll keep it within that same area that you dictated before. So the 9 degrees is how much it's going to be doing. And so I just need to go OK. And then go 3D model, extrude. And then we're going to select a couple of different things. We're going to select cut, and we're going to select the through all option. And then I can just go through, select all of these notches that I need to cut out. Naturally, it's selecting that, making it more difficult, which is actually my fault. I think I could have moved that out of the way, but I'm not sure. Alright, and then go OK. You can see there that we've made the basic profile of that, and so that's something that you could cut out on a CNC plasma cutter or on a laser cutter and get that started. One other thing that we could do to maybe look at make it look a little bit more like the original, if I go to material and I could make it out of steel. Cool. And that looks a bit better there. So it looks a little bit more like it would out of actual steel. But yeah, so hopefully you've learned a lot. So you've learned a bit more about tracing images, but then you've also learned about using the circular tool. The only difference between using the circular tool and the rectangular tool is the fact that I was doing this on an arc. If I want to do this on something straight, so whether you're putting in biscuits into a bit of wood that you're trying to draw, you're going to use the rectangular tool, and that's how you would do it. So hope you've learned a lot, and hope you see you around for the next video.